You know, it's the 10th anniversary of the Alumni Awards, and then because of that special occasion, I think this is the first time they're granting the Lifetime Achievement Award. Couldn't have been a better person. Couldn't have been. This man is unique. 22 years ago, it was my last work term, and was doing the audit practice at PwC. Again, snuck in to make that cut. And they said, "Do you speak Spanish?" And I was in the Toronto office, and they said, "Would you like to work in Cuba?" Thinking of minus 30 degrees to plus 30 degrees in the middle of the winter month, this is gonna be fun. And I get to Cuba, and I find this practice, 20, 30 Canadians from across the country helping Cuban enterprises that were benefiting from Canadian funding. And they needed financial statements. And behind this practice was this man who did not even speak Spanish. And I would sit in these meetings where Mike was interacting with generals that fought with Fidel Castro, business leaders, and what was fascinating was to see how much they trusted Mike. And it was his professionalism, it was his human touch, and it was just a pleasure. And I said, I want to be like that man one day. And my point is, Mike is one of the best things that Canada has to offer. The accounting profession is also great, and he's a great believer. But secondly, this openness, this level of trust, this commitment to getting the young up the chain. And it's not, I would not necessarily be here if we're not folks like Mike. In your pamphlet, you're going to see all the great things he's done. But most things that Mike does are unreported. And that is the secret to his success, and it's that humility in him, hence why I couldn't miss this opportunity. It is an honor to recognize Mike, and thank you for inviting me, Mr. President, Director, because I don't think there is a person that deserves this better than Mike. So thank you.
I always had an interest in helping young people grow and realize their potential. And I also had an interest in teaching. So Price Waterhouse allowed both of those interests to be followed. I was a new partner with Price Waterhouse in 1982, and I thought, since Waterloo made a commitment to the school, or to the profession, that I would come down and see if I could help as a volunteer, and that's how I got started. I'm really appreciative of this recognition. There have been some other people who I've encouraged and helped in their careers, and they were all, one of them is an alumnus from the School of Accounting and Finance. She was in the first graduating class, and her husband would always say, every time we see Mike Garvey, we see Mike Garvey, we see Mike Garvey, which was in some of the publications from the university. So I made a point then of trying to step back and making sure that the other honors went to the other very worthy alumni people here, both the senior leaders and the junior leaders. So this was a surprise when Steve asked to meet me for breakfast one morning. I'm a little hard of hearing because things move on. We sat in a restaurant with the windows were open. There was heavy construction and everything going on by, so I was picking up about 1/3 of what he was telling me. But anyways, I did say yes. So thank you very much, Steve.